There's actually research to show that if you have, let's say, a description for a potential job, that women will believe that they have to fulfill every portion of that, what's needed in order to even be able to apply for the job. Whereas men will say, yeah, I think I could do most of that. And they hit 50% of the qualifications, and they believe that they absolutely will apply and should be hired. So it's a very big difference in expectations of people themselves, but also society. It's not a surprise that women aren't often believing that they can do the things that they can do. But I think the other part of it too is that a lot of times they don't necessarily want to be seen as leaders, because that is not something that we are good at attributing to women, and not trying to tear them down in the process. So it's tough.
Well, yeah, that's a really good point. Like if you're not getting sort of the support around you to be seen as a leader, then your sort of idea about how you step into that role would like it does shape how you see yourself based on the people around you and their view of what that means and what it implies. And certainly, like I know back in the day, even organizing things around the ability to organize things quickly, like to see a need and to just be able to step in and fill that need, kind of exactly what you were saying, not necessarily seeing oneself as a leader, but as just somebody who's like, oh, this needs to be done, and so what needs to happen to make it be done. And I think we saw a lot of that nationally. I think the first time I really saw it nationally was around Katrina, and the way people really pulled together and sent massive amounts of supplies, food, clothing, by the literal busload. Like I can remember calling our local bus company and being like, hey, can you send a bus down to the grocery store? If we can get people to donate a bunch of stuff, can we use one of your buses to load it up? And then calling another group who was sending people down, and just making those calls and starting to make those connections. And it did feel organic. It just felt like it was a call, that there was a need, and there was not really, it wasn't coming from the top down, right? Nobody was saying everybody needs to do this. It was just everybody started doing it. And in a way, it was really amazing to be part of that. And also, I don't think that when people stepped away from that, I don't think anybody involved in that necessarily said, oh, I was a leader. It was just, oh, I helped get something done.
And I think that's part of the issue, right? Is that people can get stuff done, but then they don't take the next step, which is, okay, I have a knowledge base now and experience to do this. I need to have a seat at the table to make sure that this happens more, or that we deal with this issue. And then that leads to, for example, in Claremont, we have one woman on the city council. And I don't know about the boards and commissions, but the commission I'm on, I'm the only woman. And so I don't think a lot of women are either encouraged to or think of themselves as able to take the next step and have a seat at the table, which matters a great deal. And men have no problem saying, oh, absolutely, I could be a leader. They need to hear my voice. So it's a very different way of looking at leadership and power.
Absolutely. And the fact that the way women can contribute and how needed their voices actually are at the table, and that it is a missing piece at every level, right? That there's not, it would be great to be able to encourage more women to just look at the opportunities to have some say and some influence on things that affect your life every day.
Women are already doing the work. It's not that they're not there, they're just not seeing themselves as maybe even needing more power. I mean, if you think about Upper Valley Indivisible, a lot of women at the head of that. Indivisible nationally is one of their leaders is a woman. A lot of the protests are being led by women. So women are already doing some of the really tough work. I'm imagining a lot of what happened in Minneapolis was driven by women. So they just need to take the next step, or we need to push them to take the next step.